Hello and welcome to my channel, and let's look at another comic book issue. Today I'm going to be talking about Detective Comics issue 59. It has a cover date of January 1942, specifically January 7th, 1942. It was on sale November 22nd, 1941. The first story is titled The King of the Jungle. It is about Batman reuniting with the Penguin, written by Joseph Green, penciled by Bob Kane, inked by Jerry Robinson, and lettered by George Roussos. This is the Penguin's second appearance in comics. The story opens up with Penguin still train hopping after the last issue. Yeah, if you remember, the Penguin escaped Batman last time by riding on the back of a train. Penguin comes upon a group of runaway criminals and while talking finds out they each have hefty bounties on their heads. So, Penguin makes up a plan for them all to get rich. He will turn in the criminals for the money reward and then break them out later to split the money. My first thought was, why not just keep the money for himself? Well, one, the other criminals would catch on that Penguin did this and not continue their plan with the Penguin, and two, Penguin needs new henchmen to be a crime lord like the last issue. I can't believe this scene right here, where Penguin goes to the police headquarters and gives the felons he locked up for money gifts because he claims he feels bad about the criminals being in jail now, and he even tells the cop to remove the file from the cake he's giving an inmate, and the cops just ignore it, thinking it's a joke. This is just so ridiculous that I laugh with the storyline. I also love the funny lines the random criminals say in this story. Anyway, that was, the Penguin's plan of this story, and I think it's really good. I like Joseph Green's writing more than Bill Fingers for the Penguin right now. Now, this seems perfect for the plot of a Batman 1966 episode, and there wasn't one really like this except episodes 20 and 21, 21 and 22, where the Penguin has his two henchmen attack people and he pretends to save them over and over again. It's the exact same two henchmen. It's kind of like this story, I'd say. After Penguin breaks out his henchmen, Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson are close by on vacation and learn what happened. As Batman and Robin, they learn of a swamp area by the jail the last thug escaped from, and charge there and find the Penguin. While fighting, the heroes get knocked upside the head and wake up dangling upside down. Penguin just leaves them like this to die from the blood rushing to their heads, and Penguin leaves. Okay, he wanted to give them a lingering death, and I guess he never put Batman in a death trap before, but this for a trap for the Batman to get out of was pretty boring because he just cuts his binds. The heroes then go to the Batcave and figure out Penguin's plan and where he will strike next. Now let's talk about the Batman stuff. Last issue I talked about how it was nice to see Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson doing something fun for the heck of it, and it's the same thing here too. Yeah, they're on vacation, a real vacation at the start, and they're not even in Gotham City. Randomly, Dick Grayson says that he sees Penguin at one of their train stops, but Bruce believes at first that it wasn't the Penguin and wants to stay on vacation. Usually, Bruce Wayne is the one too into being Batman and would insist to do detective work just to make sure a rogue isn't around. Eventually, the Penguin strikes, and the two go into action asking about a jailbreak that happened after their crook was turned in by a, quote, little fat man. Batman and Robin travel around the country in this story, actually. Like I said, they're not in Gotham City at all, except when Batman and Robin were in the Batcave. This was an adventure around the country with real-world locations. It was a little bit strange to read and have Batman literally mention stuff like Memphis, Arkansas, Texas, stuff like that. Usually I figure the heroes being in the real world is more of a Marvel comic thing. I figured this was important enough just to bring up. I want to point out this one moment where Batman and Robin are thrown overboard off a boat, then they just grab the rotating wheel to pull themselves back up onto the boat. This is a very old gag where the villain thinks they won, but the hero appears right behind them after they say it. The Penguin's unique way of talking stands out in this issue more than the last one, though he doesn't use as many trick umbrellas this time. As you see, once again, he gasses Batman in the story. The finale takes place on a hijacked boat, and Penguin uses his umbrella like a sword and has a funny retort to Robin here. Batman and Penguin clash with a mop and a hidden umbrella blade Penguin has. It reminds me of the funny looking fight between Batman and Penguin in Batman Taz episode 13 when Batman dueled Penguin with a screwdriver. Penguin steals a gimmick from the Joker here, I'd say. He has a squirting flower of acid, I think. He does this while busting one of his new crew out of prison, and we never know for sure what he's squirting out of his flower. But it's only for one panel, but since it reminded me a lot of the Joker, I just wanted to say it. Once again, the Penguin escapes as he leaps off the boat and swims away, disappearing into the ocean. Yeah, Penguin is definitely very crafty here. His first two appearances, at the end, he gets away from the heroes. And that's the Batman story in this comic. I think it's better than the Penguin's first appearance. I mean, yeah, why wouldn't it be, since we don't need to introduce the Rogue from scratch this time. But I also love the way he talks. I think they really established his personality here a lot more. And now I will look a bit into the story of Lee Travis, the Crimson Avenger, the story titled The Career of the Spurious Scribe, made by Jack Leahy and Charles Paris. The story opens with a guy claiming to be a famous author, and he just walks in and talks to the bank manager. He says he's writing a story about a criminal and wants to learn about bank security, so the manager just shows him around, and while doing that, the guy disables the alarms. So yeah, this guy just cased the joint for his henchmen. Just as the villains have infiltrated the bank, acting like any other customers, the Crimson Avenger, Lee Travis, is at the bank cashing a check, and he notices all these ex-cons. He then changes into the Crimson Avenger and stops them, and this time he brings his sidekick, chauffeur, named Wing. The Crimson Avenger gets knocked out by the thugs and wakes up later with just one of the goons in custody. Lee Travis used makeup to look like the gang's leader. I guess he figured out what he looked like from earlier with the boss case the bank. Anyway, he gets the goon to tell them where the hideout is, which is at a windmill. There's a little fight, but both heroes get caught. Crimson Avenger turns on a shelf fan that blows the explosive powder and flame away from them, so they're safe. The heroes confront the leader and his gang at the hospital, where they're stealing radium. The end. This was the best and longest Crimson Avenger story I've ever read so far, and while reading it, it reminded me a lot of what a plot of the Adam West TV show would be like for Batman. This issue, we're going to be talking about this one now. Steve Malone, District Attorney. Now, this is very important because it's the final appearance ever today of Steve Malone. His final story ever is titled Murder of the Judge, made by Don Lynch. The story is crazy. A guy who is in debt because of gambling tries to get money for his business from his wife's uncle, otherwise he'll go bankrupt. To make his situation seem dire, he shoots himself, and when the uncle is told that he faints, or that he's told that the guy was shot, he faints. While in the hospital, the uncle is poisoned to death. The person who did it was the nurse because the uncle used to be a judge and she did it for revenge. Okay, so that's the whole story. Side note, I wonder if around this time superheroes were replacing the classic tales, because this issue was the last appearance ever of Steve Malone, and the last issue, Detective Comics 58, was the last appearance of Speed Saunders for decades. Here is an ad for Batman issue 9 and World's Finest issue 4. And here's an ad for the very first appearance of Wonder Woman that I found in the comic. And now that is my thoughts on Detective Comics issue 59. It's weird for me to talk about Golden Age covers because they're not really that exciting to look at, but it's kind of funny here. Robin is just outside the building watching Batman fight these two guys, and he's all cheering him on. Like, why doesn't he step in and help? Whatever. Well, with that said, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.